Welcome back, everyone, and it's the final match. And if I didn't know any better, I would think that this was the match that all of you guys here are the most excited for. Of course, Team Secret finally rising to the stage in this match against Fnatic. Before we get to talk about the teams, because I'm sure there's a lot to discuss and the fans would love to hear that, we do want to review who sadly got knocked out so far and who we're going to see again tomorrow in the semifinals. So let's take a look at the bracket of the day so far here at ESL One. In the quarterfinals, we had two quick 2-0s, of course, on the top side of the bracket. VP and EG both going by pretty smoothly, and then IG, after that intense fight against C9, finally climbed out of the mud bath, and now they're there in the semifinals. Who will rise to the occasion to face off against IG? Any initial thoughts? Maybe, do we think maybe Fnatic really favored here to go up against IG in the semifinals?
I do think that Jacob made a pretty good point earlier about how you have Cloud9 that is very unpredictable, and then on the other side where you have the Asian Cloud9 that is very tough to predict as well. I do think Fnatic is another opponent where you don't really know what you're going to face.
You can expect a Pugna first pick from them.
Potentially.
Maybe that's the new secret strat coming out from everyone. But Alan, you've been talking how recently it's been top secret. It's all been about Team Secret. How do they perform? Even if they don't always win the tournament, highlights are always about them. Why is that?
I mean, whoa. I mean, they just dominated. It just looks like of all the teams in Pro Dota, obviously they have as much talent as anybody out there, but they've adapted to the new meta so well, and it's felt like they've been on the cutting edge the entire time. Each time the meta has shifted in recent months, it's been Secret leading the way.
Yeah, when we've been talking about the seeding brackets, especially as we see the players enter, I'm sure the fans will be happy to finally see these guys, all 10. Coming into the stadium in person. Look at that. I mean, it really is like we're kicking off a football or soccer match here in the Commerzbank-Arena. It's beautiful. And we got the beautiful lights too with the sun setting here in Germany. And these guys get to stand in that spotlight for the final match. But Ben, I want to ask you, we've been talking about, exactly what Alan mentioned. In the seeding bracket especially, it looks like Team Secret, they could really draft anything and they say, okay, we can make this work and just go with it. Do you think that's still going to be the case here against Fnatic?
Yeah, and I think that's why they're such a fan favorite. They can pick anything that they want to, make the game exciting, and win.
Bloodseeker and Zeus, right?
Yeah, Bloodseeker, Zeus. I mean, they just run.
I don't think that one is as surprising as a lot of the other things they've pulled off.
Of course,
a few weeks ago when they
the
pulled off the
Techies.
And
oh, that's true.
The anti-mage Bloodseeker on the same lineup the day before yesterday. They can do pretty much anything they want to.
Yeah, I think that's really the best way to wrap it up. But if we had to pick it out, right? Again, any 5 of these players could pick anything. What's the key matchup, though? And maybe this relies a little bit more on what we need to look out for on Fnatic. But what do you think, Alan?
In terms of the games, I mean, I'm going to have to go with the mid matchups, but I actually wanted to do something a little bit different here and highlight a couple of players that I've been a fan of for a long time. On the one side, you got Puppey, and I said at the beginning of the day, there are only 4 players in the history of Dota 2 that have reached 600 career pro wins, and Puppey's one of them. Aki recently joined the ranks,
right.
And of course, you've also got S4 up on stage that has reached that mark as well, and 87 TI matches. That's tied for the most all time. And then on the other side, you have the top 3 SEA win totals, all here at Frankie. You got Ice with 503 career wins. You got Mushi sitting at 481, and you got KYXY sitting at 461. Just some amazing, accomplished, pedigreed players here on the stage at ESL One.
So really kind of a match of super teams from each region. Super team from SCA coming in, and then of course a super team from the West coming in the form of Team Secret. But what about the other players? Like you mentioned, this is more about kind of their career.
Absolutely.
But if we're going to talk about the mid lane, why does that interest you so much?
Well, it's a very different Fnatic team that we're seeing now than we saw a month ago. They've had a major role swap where their youngest player, Ketchikimba, has switched over. He's back on a 4-position support, freeing up Mushi to be on what's been his career traditional role in the mid lane. And that's really given them, I feel, a real new element. They've won a couple of games. They won at least one game at MLG Austin because Ketchikimba started on a 4-position Leshrac and really took over the game farm-wise as the game went along.
Would you agree with that, Kai? Is that kind of how the new color of Fnatic is going to be defined here?
For Fnatic's side, it's really hard for me to predict how they're going to go into this matchup. But
fair enough.
another point I'd like to mention is on the side of Secret, ever since S4 took over the drafters position, they seem to kind of find their stride. They had so much success ever since, where they've been up to the recent game against EG pretty much almost flawless throughout 15 games.
No, they've absolutely been incredible drafting wise, and it's funny because I think they've picked a lot of sort of crazy looking cores, but they've had very, very stable support play. I mean, they've had incredibly consistent early game rotations, and really in this meta game, when you're getting a lot out of your supports, game in and game out, you can get away with a lot in the core positions.
So is that kind of what you need to crack in this current meta, do you think, Ben? I mean, you got to find the good, the strong, the solid support players, and of course the heroes that go with that. Again, we've been talking about disables and things like that that are really key in terms of team matchups, and then your cores are kind of free to do what they're most comfortable with.
As long as it's not too crazy. Surprisingly, they didn't win versus EG, and they don't actually utilize Winter Wyvern as much as a lot of the other top teams, which is one of the reasons why they lost that series 0-2. And on top of that, their last game in the seeding match, the 1 versus a 2, which is VP versus Secret, they ran a little bit too crazy with the Warlock mid and the Kunkka offlane, which just did not work at all.
It might have spoken a bit about the fact that it was a seeding tournament, that they were already guaranteed to choose pretty much whoever they wanted outside of Alliance.
Right. And so maybe it just, they didn't feel that they needed to go too crazy there, or maybe they just wanted to hide things out and say, hey, we've been doing all this crazy stuff, you guys deal with that, we'll bring out new cards when we go into the main stage tournament.
I think they wanted to do what really underlines Secret's style of play, which is having fun. You know, I can't name a team that has more fun with the game than Secret seems to have. They're so confident in their own abilities and each other's abilities that they can just, you know, sort of pick whatever they want to and have fun with it. And I really, really think that it's...
And when you ask yourself, why, when we ask our fans, who are you rooting for, why are so many people saying Secret? I think you got the answer right there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what it is. They like to have fun. If they're having fun, obviously, as viewers, it's really fun to watch. I mean, those crazy picks are what fans really hunger for, right? You don't want to see the same 10 heroes every game. You want some craziness. So let's hear from the fans. Let's see if they're really that excited or they've just been cheering for random people here on stage. So let's see if, Sean, what do the fans have to say out in the stadium right now?
Well, Chobra, I have to say I'm pretty lucky because I'm sitting here in the audience next to my good friend Tim. Tim, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
Now, you traveled all the way here from Basel, and you came here, it's no secret, because you're a Team Secret fan, right?
That's correct.
Now, what about Team Secret do you like so much?
I was always a big fan of Puppy, so I'm just cheering for the team he's playing in.
Well, that makes sense. That's a good reason. Do we have any other Team Secret fans? It seems like Tim is in pretty good company. Now, Tim, I'm going to give you these 40 euros of G2A gift cards right here. What are you going to buy with them?
I think I'm gonna buy some cool games and shit.
Cool games and shit. Over to you, Shob.
All right, that seems to be the trend on what to do with those gift cards. Thank you very much, Sean. And yeah, it sounds like we have a couple Team Secret fans, if I had to guess. But do we have any Fnatic fans here in the venue? Because of course, I'm sure there's plenty in the SCA region. So Zoe, who have you got?
Hello, yeah, we do actually have some Fnatic fans here. I'm joined by Elias, a lovely fan from Sweden. So Fnatic is the team you're going to support in this match now?
Yeah.
Right. Is there any particular reason for that?
S4 is a really good puck player, and I really aspire to be like him.
All right. So we also have another Fnatic fan.
Yeah.
Blitzkun, wow. You are actually supporting Fnatic. Is there a reason for that as well?
I happened to sit here and you told me that I had to root for Fnatic.
No, that never happened. So you really want to support Fnatic here, aren't you?
I'm all Fnatic in this business. There are a few players on that team that sort of look like me, so I feel like as a default, I have to root for them. So, Fnatic all the way.
Oh guys, join him! Everyone wants to join Team William now as well, as you are hard committed for Fnatic, as I heard. And so is Elias, and that's why I want to gift you this G2A gift card of 20 euros. 20 euros. And I hope you enjoyed. You can buy some amazing gifts and things with that. And we're heading back to the desk now.
Thank you very much, Zoe. And Thank you, Blitz. I mean, Blitz is a smart man because this way if Fnatic wins, he can just pretend that he's on the team and he can take part of the winnings right there. But let's see what you guys have to say. None of us really, well, also I don't get to have a say in the predictions.
We're
so
both
I don't
Fnatic fans.
no, I'm staying out of this one. So we already know where Ben's going. But what about you, Jacob? Who are you rooting for in this game?
I'm going to go for Secret. I want to see what they pull out of the hat in this game, and generally speaking, I think I would, if I had to put the entire tournament on one team, it would be Secret. So I have to go with them for this game, obviously.
Yeah, sounds pretty accurate. What about you, Ben? You're gonna vote Fnatic?
Easily Secret. Easily. The last tournament that they lost was, I think, Star Ladder, and they actually got upset by Team Malaysia. But after that, they just been on a roll. On top of the curve for drafting, for playing, for execution, everything.
Yeah, I mean, they've really been the defining team very recently. So, Alan, I'm going to assume the same?
I can't go against it. As much as I could stand up here and go on and on about Mushi, he is utterly unique in the ranks of Pro Dota 2 players. Team Secret has just been incredibly dominant. They've put on shows for us, for the fans. They're the team I think everybody wants to see, and I think they will move on.
Yeah, all right. And Kai, now your curse, don't get too relaxed. I mean, just one match. It's not completely broken yet, but who are you voting for in this game?
I feel a bit bad here.
Please say
No, you don't have to do it.
So, I do think that Secret is going to take it.
Okay.
But we discussed how Fnatic can upset. And who knows? Maybe they pull something out of their hats.
All right. I like it. Just walking the fence. We're not even going to pull it up right there because he's just going straight 50-50. Either team could really take this game. I mean, out of two teams, one of them is going to... Thank you, production. There we go. All right. Well, Team Secret fans, you're safe, but Fnatic fans, the curse was broken. So you have something. Oh my Lord. You have something to hope for. But again, all four of you guys. I mean, when you look at it from a third-person perspective, Secret seeming to definitely be the favorites, not just in this match, but the whole tournament. Would you guys all agree?
At present time, definitely, yes.
Yeah. I think when they play, we've talked about these teams playing their best Dota, and certainly with all 8 teams coming to this event, when they play their best Dota, they're very difficult to beat. I still think Secret, number one, are the most consistent of these teams recently in terms of playing at an incredibly high level, and number two, I think their best is just half a notch better right now than anybody else.
Well, on that, I have a question for you, Ben. I mean, we keep saying if teams play their best Dota, and then we mentioned that Secret, they can kind of draft whatever they want and they feel comfortable, but are they playing their best Dota when they kind of go off on these crazy picks?
I think just because they're so versatile, right? And I mean, Zai used to play support, Kuro used to play carry, RTZ used to play mid, and they just switch around all these roles just because they're so good at it. They practice pubs all the time. They're always playing, they're always scrimming, and they're always dominating.
All right, very true. And we just saw the fan predictions for all around the world. 74-26. I mean, one might guess, considering how big favorites Secret are, that's actually a pretty good turnout for Fnatic. Are you guys a little bit surprised?
No, I think we all need to understand. I mean, there are, first of all, a lot of fans out there that really love these Fnatic players, and for good reason. I mean, I can't emphasize enough, this is an SCA all-star team.
That's true. I mean, we've been saying that again, the dream team from the West versus the dream team from the SCA region. Of course, Secret have proven themselves more, but at the same time, Fnatic just haven't had as many chances maybe to prove that they can compete at this level and maybe even take games off or win the entire tournament. That's been the theme for the entire day. We had a very interesting match number 3. Pretty excited to see how match number 4, the last quarterfinals, turns out between these two teams. We will be jumping right into the picks and bans here as the players get ready. Everyone just getting settled into their booths. You know, it's getting a little bit darker now. We do have all the lights turned on and the stadium looks beautiful. We had a lot of sunlight during the day. Jacob, are you enjoying the event?
Oh, so much. Even more now that the sun came out. Now it's unfortunately gone because nightfall has come. But yeah, once the sun really came out, you could see the beauty of the stadium, and it really came into its own.
Yeah, and during that last game, as the sun starts setting, we had all that intense team fights going down. But picks and bans have kicked off in game number 1 between Fnatic and Secret. So let's find out specifically what Secret's going to play in the opening game of their match here in the quarterfinals. We will be pulling that up right here. Bans already going down on both sides. So Fnatic and Secret. Fnatic on the dire side, also having that first pick.
We saw VP go with a different strategy, which is banning the Bloodseeker, just because it's been such a wild card for them. It was running the support role. It was played by RTZ with an unusual Blink into Mjolnir build, and it seems, I mean, Fnatic might pick it themselves. It's actually very popular in the SCA region.
We were talking about this in the seeding stage. if the reason they picked Bloodseeker was just to sort of throw people off going into the main stage of the tournament.
Like Pugna?
No, like if you pick the Bloodseeker repeatedly on day one, even though you don't really feel like it's a main priority in your arsenal, then you can sort of scare teams into using a ban on it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very legitimate strategy. We've seen it before. I mean, all throughout, even in just traditional sports and things like that, you use a certain strategy all throughout. And look at this, picks going down really quickly on both sides.
Well, so I really, first of all, I really like the first pick Leshrac out of Fnatic. We've talked about Leshrac and Overtime's here already at the panel. I think if there's one team that I actually like to see seriously think about incorporating and support Leshrac, it is Fnatic. I really like Ketchikimba, already holds several significant farming records in his young career, and I think this is a very, very strong farming support. And of course for Secret, I mean, we saw what Zai could do with Clockwork at the Summit 3. He had the finest Clockwork game that I've ever seen, through 12 hook shots. Hit all of them in a pivotal game against Fiji Gaming.
I do think, though, this is a more common opening here by Secret.
By Secret, yeah. This is very conventional.
It can still be a short lane quab where you have an off lane Clockwork, then potentially going into something like a Chen even.
They can also transition into Drought Visage.
Yeah, they're still very open, but I do agree with Jacob here where you were mentioning the Bloodseeker. I think it's more of a throw-off than actually, when it comes down to it, where they need to win here, I don't think they would just like go with an uncommon Bloodseeker pick that they haven't really played that much before.
Maybe, and also, I mean, if you're in the same position as Team Secret, you're by far the favorites in this tournament. You guys know that you're probably the best in the world so far. I mean, you feel that maybe you can just go with something more conventional and make people a little bit more worried about having to compete with the same pool of heroes.
Well, this is why, I don't have the stats to back this one up, but I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. This is why I think once they got that first monkey off their back at Red Bull Battlegrounds, I feel like Team Secret have just been a different team. They've played like they're playing with house money.
But how many monkeys do they have total on their back? Do they still have another monkey on their back? Because that could be a problem, Alan.
I didn't bring my monkey stats either. Sorry.
Got you there. Again, only about Dota. No, just kidding, man. I think you've been saying that, and I think you've been nailing it on the head, though. Secret really have transformed and proven that. Before that, I was like, we really like this team. They're really fun to watch. They're really good. And now it's like they're definitely the favorites. They're definitely the strongest team so far.
Now we actually see the Bloodseeker ban coming out from Fnatic, so there's definitely some respect.
I really actually was surprised to hear you say that in particular, Jacob, that you're a Bloodseeker guy.
No, I am. Like I think Bloodseeker is incredibly good. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that the hero doesn't deserve being picked. I just don't think it's a necessity for Secret.
Okay, fair enough.
All right.
What do you think about the Leshrac Shadow Demon combo? This is something that goes way back, but has added really an extra dimension now that the Leshrac is so frequently run as a core. And I'll ask you guys the same question as I did the last time that we saw Visage third pick. Are we going to see a Drow at 4 from Team Secret?
This is a very common opener for them with the Clockwork offlane. Most people like range offlaners, but Secret, they've experimented with Darkseer and the offlane. Didn't work for them. Now they always go for Clockwork as their 3. But yeah, Visage, Drought. I mean, they run Drought a lot, even without Visage.
Yeah, and it looks like that will be the natural progression here. So on the side of Fnatic, you probably have to expect that. I mean, do you bother to react to it, or at this point you've already just let it go through?
This is a combo that Fnatic know quite well. Fnatic have run quite a bit of Drow Visage themselves, and notwithstanding a very, very odd 4-position Drow Ranger pick at MLG that did not work out for them, they play that combo very well themselves, and I think Bristleback is not a bad hero to pick when you think you're going to be going into that combo.
All right, well, they're going with that, Bristle. Now, are we going to see that Drow here for Secret? Kai, what do you think?
It's still very, very open to say to me, just because Visage Drow is not as strong anymore as it was before. But it does fit, for sure.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm just saying that it's not the 100% common follow-up pick onto a Visage.
It's not as high of a priority, but again, if you're in the position of Team Secret, even if it's not as strong, we've been talking, I mean, they feel comfortable with pretty much anything that they've been drafting. So anything common is definitely going to feel right in the palms of their hands.
Well, and I also think that this lineup lets Secret just keep the pressure on, because Fnatic is a team, their big weak point has been they've been susceptible to some very weak laning phases, and they like to be very aggressive in the mid game. So when they get off to these really rough starts, they're not able to hit that mid game window that they play really well in. And I think this is a lineup, these first 4 from Team Secret, they're going to be able to just apply pressure constantly from 0 to 30 minutes.
All right, and the puck coming out, and now we're in the last phase, 1 ban left for each team.
If we're looking towards the laning here, I would assume it's going to be a draw mid, where you have a Queen of Pain on the short lane with the Visage, but they obviously can still switch around. I do like a draw better in a mid position, just because you get a faster 6, and then you're kind of just that aura hero for everyone else.
And you're expecting the aggressive tri-lane to come out of Fnatic, since they picked the Shadow Demon Leshrac combo?
It's still tough to tell, because they could go aggressive where you don't exactly know where the puck goes. Puck could still go short lane, puck could still go mid lane.
I think
it's not
too
entirely
all in.
set.
I think aggro tri-lane is a little bit too all in from Fnatic, and I don't necessarily mind that, because you do know that you're the underdog in this series. But my question for this lineup, if your aggro tri-lane really struggles, where do you go from there? Is Fnatic. I think you can get enough done with a core Leshrac with a Shadow Demon straight up support. I don't necessarily think you have to aggro try.
I think if they aggro try, they can just stack the clock, and then it'll be completely okay.
Right.
It is a little bit too all in, especially if they're Dire. If they're Radiant, they can utilize that pool, but Dire, if you don't get any kills in lane, you're just so far behind.
But in the past, we've seen Fnatic is one of the teams that are more prone to actually just go for that all in. They seem to be a bit more ballsy than other teams in terms of risking it.
Yeah, and again, I mean, maybe that's the background they're coming from, right? They're kind of always seen as this underdog, and they're like, well, we have to prove ourselves, and we might as well throw it down. Now, something I've learned, I mean, throughout all of esports is really, if you're facing against probably what might be the strongest or second strongest team in a tournament, you can't play on their terms. You can't say, we'll play the same game of consistency and go try to match you on all levels of the game. Maybe that is what they need to do. Just go all in and throw all bets on the table. And the Broodmother coming out as a ban from Team Secret.
I would generally say, though, that especially the C scene is very different in terms of picks than any other region.
Yeah.
Yes, also China has their own kind of playstyle, but I feel like in the recent past, China as well as the European/US scene is closer and closer in terms of meta. But C always runs their own kind of style.
No. I mean, if you look at the stats, at game-to-game volatility of power rankings in SEA, it's all over the map. It's the most volatile region by far. And part of that is that the metagame is just so unstable. It shifts from week to week.
Oh, well, maybe that's what can make this game so exciting, of course. I mean, we've been talking so much about Secret being willing to do crazy things, but as you guys are starting to bring up during the picks here, Fnatic, not a stranger to that world.
What are our lanes, guys? I still feel like we got a Mushi puck here and a KYXY Bristle.
I could imagine a Windrunner pick coming out from Fnatic. It's a hero they have success with and are very fond of. And as you were saying, C and Fnatic in particular seem to have their own priority picks, almost dating back to 6.48B days in Dota 1. Because they love to pick the Sand King and Lina, even if they're not in meta, and just stack up these heroes.
All right, well, the lineup is finished for Secret. What are we looking at? I mean, keepers would like to round it out.
They usually like a hero that doubles as sustain as well as defensive capabilities. It's usually Dazzle, sometimes it's Vengeful Spirit, but keep it light with Ags, or even Blinding Light can serve a very similar role.
It could be that they picked that Coddle as last, just if they're concerned with an aggressive tri-lane, Coddle in that sense is very strong to defend.
Definitely.
All right, my two, I mean, you guys just absolutely nailed it on the head. The number one thing is, when you have a Drow Visage lineup, I like at least one hero that can help sustain the push. And number two, I like the fact that you get a hero that can lock down in case you have to face that aggressive tri-lane. They get a couple early kills. You have a hero that can at least zone that tri-lane out and make them think twice about diving you constantly.
Yeah, again, just showing the flexibility really here from Secret, and also just their knowledge of the drafts and what they're up against. Just making sure, hey, we can cover both sides now in terms of strategy, and we're not too worried. So Fnatic, with 1 minute left, what is their pick going to be? Can they pick something that can really turn things around, or now do they just kind of have to accept it and go with what they're most comfortable with?
I think something that's very, very early game. Undying, I think, would come to mind as long as they can protect the Tombstone. I've seen a lot of Drow lineups just kill the Tombstone in 3 or 4 hits, which is really bad, but I definitely don't think they need more late game.
You're gonna do if you do that, you're gonna do
think so?
Undying in the trial lane?
You think they can get away with this, what they have right now?
I know. I mean, I think they have to go for all in on the early.
I wouldn't even lock on here the option of just having Lesh, SC roaming together, and then you have a puck mid.
Oh wow!
But it seems like is that a
I think you could
puck off lane, Bristol
No,
off lane.
No, puck is mid, I think.
I think you could go the 3 solo laners and just have the Leshrac and SD roam.
All right. Well, we'll find out. Again, I mean, both teams showing a lot of flexibility. We'll see if that really shows up in game number 1 as we open things up. The game is ready. Picks and bans are done. So let's throw it over to the casters for the last match of the evening.
Thank you very much. Yes, myself and Cinderin are together finally for our last game of the day. And what a hell of a series to actually have here, Cind. Secret, the team which everyone was flagging, is number 1, and Fnatic, the team which you never know what you're going to expect from them.
Yeah, this is a crazy draft from Fnatic. It's a lot more stable from Secret. I've seen them play a very similar strategy before. It's been tested. It's been working for them. They get a lot of their trademark heroes, so I think they go in with a lot of confidence. And the question is if Fnatic are going to catch them by surprise with their laning, with their early movements, especially when you invest into something like an Enigma, which looks like it is going to be in the jungle played by Johnny.
Yep.
This is a greedy pick, which might just work because Secret have shown their hand entirely with their support duo. With the Visage and Coddle, they have very limited invasion potential on level 1, and Johnny should be able to start off well in the jungle now. The question is, how are the other lanes going to go? I just called the jungle a lane. It's the 4th lane of Dota.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really curious to see what Fnatic are doing. This is a very special draft from them.
Yeah, it kind of is, and I know it actually goes against something which we were talking about previously before we started this game up, which was how much does Secret value the jungle? How much money is there really to pull out from this, and what effect do you see from the Enigma? But if Enigma can get this early mech, free up the Bristleback to buy something else, like maybe even a Halberd if he can close the distance on that Dry Ranger or Disarm, choices are available there. And you've got more choices when you get the Blink Dagger up and running, because the team fight of Fnatic is really, really scary. Between Dreamcore, Black Hole, the setup which can come from just a simple disruption, and the control from Purge, then you've got the Shrek stun, the mass amounts of damage that he does. It's a lot to work with for both teams, really.
Speaking of the Enigma, I think it's really confident from Fnatic to go for that here. Actually, let's wait a second.
Yeah.
This level 1 unfolds. Zai with some good cogs.
Yeah, but unfortunately, actually, the cogs lock him out. But KOXY is battling up against Puppey, but it's Johnny and Mushy with the 2 slow on. But Zai, he'll pick up the rune. KOXY is bailing out of here. The Illuminate won't hit anything because Fnatic will just disengage. So the first rune went.
Runes.
They will. And we will go to S4 on the bottom, and it will go to Zai, who gets to play the offlane.
So what I was going to say is this Enigma pick is very confident from Fnatic because I actually don't really know how good of a fighting Enigma game it is. When it comes to pushing lanes, it's difficult to push into Illuminate and Rocket Flare with just the Eidolons. And if you're looking for black holes, you're playing into Gust, you're playing into Hookshot, you're playing into Familiars, which are actually really good against it. And Johnny is going to have a very difficult game because of this. He's even going to start in the mid lane here trying to help out Muji against Arteezy, who has a little bit of a head start here when it comes to damage dealt, as I think Mushid took quite a bit of damage in that level 1 fight.
Yeah, that's just the reason why he's there.
And classic dual offlane from Secret. They love playing this clock Coddle lane. I think, in my opinion, their absolute best dual offlane. They play this lane very, very well.
How effective is it going to be, though, when you have a Shadow Demon that can set up with Disruption, and KOXY, who, like, we're watching Keecha give him as much space as he can on the top lane, because then he's going to have level 2, you'll have Lightning available, and you'll also have that Disruption up and running. So you've got the setup, you've got the stuns, you've got the control. How much can they survive if it's Puppey who's the one that gets caught out of position? Because I don't think they can kill the Clockwork.
I think if they initiate on Puppey, he is not going to die, because then we'll see it right now.
Speaking of dying,
I can always just go for a play like this. I think that was really aggressive coming in from Pichi. He is going to be on the receiving end of this one. Zai getting the first blood.
Huge first blood, massive first blood. At the same time, the Bristleback actually denied himself off because Kuro was harassing him so heavily, he just basically run himself into the Dire Ancients and killed himself off. So it actually shows us 2-0 on the board in favor of Team Secret. And Fnatic had just been completely forced out of I'm going to say the bottom lane at least. The Bristleback's a long way back. S4's got so much farm now that coming back to that lane, I'm not going to say it's suicide, but it's going to be difficult. And the top lane, you've given momentum to a Clockwork. That's probably more dangerous than anything. But they're going to have a crack top lane. Disruption. Lightning started up. The second stun and now Lightning follow-up. Zai will be dropping here. Stick charge in the cogs. Not going to do enough. Fnatic gets some revenge on Secret.
This kill is so incredibly important because if you look at how this lane was starting to play out, I think Secret getting the first blood there was just flat out a mistake from Kachik. Even if he catches Puppey there and does a bit of damage, KOXY was never in a position to reach the Split Earth. And they can't really initiate on the Coddle, because the moment they do it, Zai will just run into the Lash. He will either cog him and knock him back, or he will use Battery Assault. And if he interrupts any sort of spell cast from that Lash in the lane, they're trading mana, which is already a loss, right? Because Secret can just keep chakraing up there. So they need to be a little more careful or incorporate the Enigma in the lane play. Try to rotate in Johnny early. There's no warding for Secret up here to help them out, and the Enigma has to be involved, I think.
But he can't really do much until those boots are up and running. Like, he's got the Soul Ring now, so that's going to be great. But he won't have enough movement speed to actually get into the lane to really be effective. Unless you're going to sit him on the sidelines, but then you run the risk of feeding off conversions as well.
Well, as long as they set up with a disruption into a stun from Lesh, they should have time for Johnny's Eidolons to actually move in. Even though they only have 250 move speed, it's probably enough. Between disruption and the Lesh stun is 4.5 seconds. So I do think they could do that, but yeah, we'll see. At the same time, you don't want to involve Johnny more in the kills than he has to, because he really is under a lot of pressure in this game to get some farm.
Yeah. If you can give him all the space in the world to just farm up inside the jungle, and you still get what you're searching for around the lanes, which is not really that many deaths, but you're still finding like even CS, then you're going to be fine. But Puppey's already trying to put an end to this. He puts down the observe wards, came on a bit of a smoke mission, and actually blocks up 2 of the camps from Johnny. So Johnny will be forced out of the jungle anyway. He does have 1 sentry ward left on himself, but where he puts it, that's a big question.
He's gonna hear a Grave Chill here from Kuro, snatching the bounty rune from Ohio in the bottom lane. And I want to talk a little bit about this lane, by the way. I think Bristleback off lane is a thing of the past. I think it's too weak right now. The hero doesn't really scale. He doesn't fight very well from behind, and you really set him up for a bad lane. If you put him against a dual lane with Drow Aura from the beginning, I'm worried for Fnatic that Ohio is going to do almost nothing this game.
It's okay. 1 CS. 1 CS is fine, but he's got a Mango. What more do you need, dude?
Experience?
That'll be a good thing to have.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not going to go against that one.
He's level 2, he's level 6. Quite good luck, buddy. Oh. This lane is impossible, actually. And the trade-off they're getting is not good enough. They can't even make up for it. They're behind on experience and gold with an Enigma in the early game.
The Enigma's first real movement into the lane is going to tell us probably more than anything else. And he's actually bought smoke as well. So it looks like Johnny is going to make this first movement. He is a 1-3-1 build. There is no black hole available. Top lane, they're going to have a crack disruption into the stun. There is lightning to follow up at level 3. It's a lot of damage to decide with the catcher and the poison. I don't know if that's enough. 100 points of life. And now the Sonic Wave, they try and turn around. And Keytrick will go down. And surprisingly, Zai, he'll be able to survive.
I'm surprised KOXY didn't try to follow that one through on the Clockwork. I thought they could have brought Zai down. It seemed like he just stopped chasing. One more attack would have triggered the Shadow Poison, or he could have triggered it and then got the kill. But instead, Zai gets to live. Good rotation from his 4, though, regardless of whether they would have killed Zai or not. He would have definitely got that return kill. Secret looking good in this early game. They're building up a pretty significant lead already, and Kuro even gets to safe lane a bit now with the rotation of S4.
It does come to a sacrifice, though, because now Ohio is finding levels on the Bristleback, and Fnatic has spotted this out. So they try and punish the fact that Kuro is doing this, initiates on Ohio, but Mushy, he's rotated himself down. Jumped in with the Dream Core, soul suction damage, it's not enough on Bristleback. A good pick-off here from Fnatic, and great rotation from Mushy.
Yeah, so S4 finds a kill top, Mushy finds a kill bottom. Doing the same thing, just 30 seconds apart. And out of these 2 kills, in my opinion, the bottom kill is more important. Like, I really think they need Ohio to get this kind of help to become relevant. So Mushy with the play there is going to try to help Ohio get in the game. But just to give you some perspective here, Zai's level 6 on clock in a moment. The Bristle who just got his lane ganked is level 3.5, and he has no ancient stacks. His recovery curve is really long, and he just does less than a clock with the same amount of farm as Zai.
He's going to be really careful.
Catcher actually hit the creep.
He's actually got 2 points, now 3 stacks of poison on him. And there's going to be a 4th one. No, it's off target. He'll be in the tree line and TP out. So the damage isn't enough to get the kill. He'll drop down, but not by enough to find it.
If Kachik finds the 4th poison there, I think that is a kill. It's level 3 poison, actually. Yeah, that would have definitely been enough. But Zai playing with fire. He gets
Johnny,
out.
smoke just broke, but the mouth for stun. Commit the black hole right on top of Arteezy. Mushi needs a little bit more. That's why he jumps in for the orb. But actually got S4 in the TP, but Mushi's so low. The scream will kill him. Arteezy will still drop. This will be a double kill for S4 as he'll blink up to avoid Johnny. Actually commits suicide with his own conversions. Denied right in front of the Tier 1 tower.
Very, very nice deny from Johnny. I think the black hole, however, is a little bit too early, because the problem there is he wants to have the black hole a little bit later when the TP support comes in from S4, so they get to catch him in it as well. They also didn't manage to layer the silence in the black hole perfectly, so they take a lot of damage before the silence comes out. I mean, granted, it's 3/4 of a second of silence, but still, that kind of play might allow Mushi to phase shift one of S4's spells and could have perhaps turned into a 1-for-0 instead of.
They're going bottom lane again. Kuro, Mushi TP's in with no lane ward. He has no warning about this coming in. Mushi will bring him down with an old clockwork hook shot in, but the Dire Creep Wave was there. So Zai unable to connect.
Fnatic are finding some picks here to level up the game a little bit. And
every time they do too.
Oh, they might find another one.
Wow, this is going to get way too easy after a while. Zai just getting bursted down with both the orb and the rift, but with the defensive cogs up, he gets back and S4's joined the fight. Sonic Wave is available. Mushi's already used phase shift, which means he is dead to the world. Maybe with a disruption available, but he doesn't actually throw it. He didn't have it. It was actually on cooldown. So S4 moves in quickly, finds the kill.
I think they were hoping there that he would be able to phase shift that attack to bait S4 into blinking for the kill. And then maybe they could have counterplayed him with Shadow Poison, Soul Catcher, and a couple of quills. Or maybe they were waiting for one more tick to deny. I'm not sure Shadow Demon could have actually killed him there, so maybe there was no play at all.
Could be something, could be nothing. Basic summary. Drow Ranger, though, is looking like she's really, really good. Like, you've died once on Arteezy, which for his mid-solo, Drow Ranger is actually very, 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 very good. But having 3 Wraith Bands as well as these treads, he does what he always does with this Drow Ranger. He gives so much power to the rest of the map. This Queen of Pain's walking around with a bonus 39 physical damage. Not to mention Keeper of the Light can do exactly the same thing. He's actually in Ghost form at the moment, can potentially call in someone, and they found an opening. It's going to be on the Shadow Demon. Starts off with the orb, pushes him back, and it will be able to connect. S4, nice jump in, defensive though on the disruption. Into lightning, S4 no blink, 7 seconds on cooldown. Malphus going to make it hard to get away. Analyst Strike Sun will connect, S4's going to drop. Big kill, it goes to KYXY, which makes it even bigger.
Kitschik had like 3 HP after that rocket. He still stays alive. Zai with, I believe that was a level 3 rocket, actually. He's trying another one. Kitschik's gonna dodge that. He's expecting it, takes the long path. He might have to dodge a 3rd one, actually. Zai has in 5.
He'll get back to base in time. He'll have enough heal.
It's possible he's gonna try for it. I'm actually not sure. If he shows it right now. All right, he's not trying. Oh, he is. Oh, he found someone else.
Yeah, the second rocket he fired off flew over Ohio while he's watching him do this, and a hook shot up! He's gonna double damage her, locks him inside the clogs. Ohio, try and break free, Stick Shadow can't help him, disruption, there it is, buy some time, Zyno more battery assault left, Ohio, he's so low, the Dream Car will control the rocket from Clockwork, Zai finds the kill, the revenge is bittersweet. They're able to find it back, Mushi with yet another rotation kill. That makes it 2.
Kitschik is being super clutch in this game so far in his Shadow Demon. Apart from that one mistake he made in the early laning stage, playing a bit too aggressively, his disruptions have been pretty much perfect. And right there, they end up getting a trade because he just barely makes it, else Clock will easily get that kill and get out. Now Poppy
pulls him down! The Sonic Wave from S4 will finish him off quick enough. If that TP didn't come, Poppy was dead to rights.
He wanted that to happen though. I think he recalled before he ran into the Lash, so just wanted to get S4 in as good a position as possible for that, and does manage to bait out a kill as well as secure their top tier 1 for now. They could deny it if they want. It's got 80 health remaining, but might just want to hold on to it for strategic purposes, just being able to TP to that tower, maybe have a little bit of a more unclaimed gold for Fnatic right now, delaying the, I was about to say delaying the Mech of Enigma. He is 18 gold away. He's probably going to get it soon anyway.
Yeah,
but
it'll delay the Blink Dagger or Puck.
Yes.
Because he's a little bit further away. It's 1,600 gold on this Puck. But okay, let's look at KOAXY. Latrak has been banned out in the first 2 most of the time for a very, very, very good reason. How's he looking at the moment? With 1 point booster, Arcane boost, and almost 1,000 gold. Is this the position you want to be in as a Latrak?
I think it's good enough. He is... I think he's pretty much on par with what you expect at this point with one death. And playing in a 2-on-2 lane, it's a little bit tricky when it comes to farming, all in all. But I think he's looking good.
Disruption, catcher on top lane. It's S4 who will blink himself away, but he's not that far off. But Zai hook shots in. The guy's actually face shooted down by Mushy. He won't be affected. S4 still having to stand his ground, and they've got one, potentially two. Arteezy trying to run away, but Mushy up on the high ground. They want to keep playing it up. But as Puppey in the middle of this fight, they can't do anything with that blinding light. But now, back it up. Koro, trouble with KOX by turning on the pulse nova. Now Zai, a perfect blocking Cox. Ohio's got no way to get through, but he sees Arteezy, so chases after him. The Puppey again, pushing them back with that blinding light. There is a little bit of a chase. It's Zai after Mushy. The Dire Observer was down, and Zai's got no way to really chase this. He's got 16 one charges at least, and the familiar drop down. It actually caught out the SD. Mushy faces it out. The Cog pushback by KOXY. Maybe now he can catch out Zai. The Cogs are there. Turn on the Edict. The Pulse over with the stun. They have enough damage to kill off Zai. Supports on the way in with Poppy's Illumina. Johnny, he's pretty low. They've already got the kill. The Illumina, it won't reach him in time. They will back up before the range can go, and that is going to be 9-8 now. Keeping it close, keeping it tight.
That fight could have gone even worse for Secret. I think Johnny had the shortest black hole I've ever seen, or at least tied for top 3. He immediately when he cast it, he got hit by Battery Assault in the back. So Zai doing a really good job lashing onto him, and actually that ends up keeping Arteezy alive in that fight, as I think the black hole would have caught him at that point in time. So they still got a 3-0 with a completely whiffed black hole. They still won that fight convincingly, and it's all about the engage. Once again, Kachik Imba, as well as Mushi with some big plays here.
I hate to pose the question right now, but does Secret have enough damage to kill off Fnatic? As I now see 2 Vit boosters flying back on the courier for Ohio as well as KYXY. This Leshrac as well as Bristleback are getting bigger with every minute that passes. Is the Drow Ranger, is he even your damage that you're focusing on? Like, you've now got the Yasha on Arteezy. He's pumping out a crap ton of damage, over 200 a pop. But is this enough?
Yes, they definitely have enough damage. But what they need to work around is the amount of control that Fnatic has. It's going to be very difficult for them to deal their damage when Enigma walks in with the mech ready, because they have to try to find, either they have to do exactly what Zai did there with just getting him onto the Enigma and trying to run him down. But if they cluster a little bit too much, even if they don't get Black Hole, just the overall AoE damage that Fnatic's lineup can output with just catching 2 or 3 heroes in Dream Coil, you're in a lot of trouble if you're Secret and that happens. Lightning Storm will be able to be cast twice, Bristleback will be in a decent position, and even though, as I pointed out in the start, Ohio got completely shut down, they actually managed to give him a bit of a comeback so he can do stuff.
Going after Puppey, he has the double damage room, but can he actually hit in there? Missing the silence, and he'll actually die from the Dream Coil break. The rest of Fnatic is grouping up to try and force out the bottom lane. So the top tower will be denied. That's 1 deny for 1 deny. And the TP support coming in from Mushy to hold on to this mid tower, at least slow it down, while KOXY with the Edict forcing through the tier 1. He can't actually do it. The familiars are phasing him out. So Queen of Pain will get the last hit, and Fnatic will get another trade-off. So it's the tier 1 in mid for the tier 1 on bottom.
I think Fnatic are okay with this. If you look over the strategies and what they're supposed to do, this is the phase where Fnatic need to get through it without too big of a deficit. And right now it's a dead even game. I think if you say this, we hold this position with a dead even game 10 minutes down the line, Secret has like this really solid minute 20 to 25 where if Fnatic overcome that one as well, I think they're going to start scaling very well, where the main thing is just get someone in on Arteezy every fight. Because if the Drow War is not in effect, I think Secret's damage at that point will not be enough. You asked a few minutes ago, and I think for now, it's good enough. But come that point when especially Leshrac starts getting tanky and Bristle too, they might actually not be able to do it anymore.
Well, the only way you could potentially do it, because there's no jump in initiation apart from the puck. So Puck would have to jump right on top of the Drow Ranger to make it happen, and normally he doesn't stick around. So does that then mean you almost have to rush a Blink Dagger over on the Enigma? Speaking of Arteezy, this is one way to close it.
Position right now. I'm not sure what he was expecting here.
Well, there is a Dream Call trying to battle up against him. The Cat's able to connect. Defensive disruption.
Well,
and Arteezy. It's still taking a while to bring him down, and he actually gets the kill inside of death. They're going to go on bottom lane too. S4, nice hook shot in. They found Johnny looking for the stun. Black Hole, he does not want to trigger it here. That Battery Assault still doing work in the Blade Mail. Couldn't attack into Zai. KOXY blinding, let it force back out. Even I think it was Mana Leak, which actually triggered a secondary stun.
It was. Puppey had enough knockback range on that blinding light to get him out of mana for the stun, else that kill does not happen. Very, very nice play here from Secret. And, well, technically, they shouldn't have had that kill on Drow, but apart from that, that was definitely a
Puppy
nice
said, Mushy, doing it nice with the silence. There was no blinding light to stop him. He has to try and get himself out of this mess, though. And it looks like actually having that secondary TP cancelled, he will just walk away. Yeah, Arteezy was up so far.
I'm really surprised he was up there pushing. It looked like Secret wanted to draw attention to that lane so that they could gank bottom at the same time, and they were successful. But ultimately, if that orb from Mushi hits, then Arteezy doesn't get a kill, and it basically turns into a trade that's not really that favorable for them. So
the sad thing is, too, it actually came down to the last hitting, too. It was one attack for one attack, and Mushi, when he first orbed in, he actually attacked the creep wave. He didn't actually attack directly into Arteezy. So the damage wasn't there as well.
I was about to say Mushi is probably going to go for a Dagon, but he takes the Yule's route. I think wanting to deal with mainly the Gust, having a counterplay to that silence is going to be very useful. And of course, a secondary way of stopping TPs.
Not a bad setup in some ways too, because he could he could set up for KYXY.
I'm wondering if there's not really any Blink Dagger carrier in Secret, apart from, I guess, Arteezy at some point might want to go for it in the Drow. So the fall damage from the Yules isn't going to be good for preventing that on anyone, but it's still just a solid choice on Puck overall. It's one of those items that you almost never regret getting, unless you really lack damage. I do not think that's going to be a problem for Fnatic, though.
He should be fine. KYXY has finished up the Bloodstone, just going to fly out in the Courier, but he's very, very close to Poppy. His Illumina's going to help force out that top lane, not to mention the Familiars, which are still here. That Bushy's done a pretty damn good job on the bottom lane too, so he'll TP back, and that is the full Yule Scepter now done 18 minutes and a half into this game. And Fnatic are ready to fight. Johnny has his black hole up and running.
Did you notice Puppy's item build, by the way? Did you talk about that?
What did he end up going for? I saw Tranquils, and now he's got Arcanes as well. Okay.
One for each foot.
He's got 4 to fill, man. That's a horse.
He forgot he bought the first pair. Transition.
There is no transition.
Awkward silence. Thanks, Toby. That's really nice of you. All right.
I'm here for you, man.
It wasn't the best joke, I know.
Don't worry. That's why you're sitting next to me. I'll make your jokes look fantastic. Crimson Guards now up for the Bristleback. This Fnatic team fight is looking stronger and stronger again. So you got the Bloodstone up for KYXY. You've got your Black Hole with Mech. You've got your Blink Yule Scepter up and running. You've still got Purge up, and Ohio's now going to put a Crimson Guard on top of all of Fnatic. They can just start to force down buildings and Secret either look for a trade-off, which it looks like they're doing at the moment. S4 with a DD rune can probably do heavy damage to that T1 tower on bottom. And Puppy's keeping the pressure forced on top. Actually, Fnatic, they're searching for kills. They're not pushing down the towers. They're going to come off the worst for this trade. Especially now the KYXY leaves. Goes down to defend the bottom lane.
Well, they did get the mid tower at least for the Bristle, who's...
Oh yeah, took the T1.
I might have to eat my words because Ohio has actually had a really big impact and he is getting farmed. Like, they've managed to recover him very nicely. The reason I'm so against offlane Bristle is that I feel like this never happens. But Fnatic have actually managed to accomplish it this game, which is very good to see, because if this Bristle would have been destroyed a little bit more in that lane, I think we could have been looking at a very one-sided game. But he is looking really strong, actually. He's second on net worth with that offlane Bristle back. Ohio he's been incredible this game so far.
They bought him so much space with Mushy's rotations, because remember, Mushy did come down twice to that bottom lane to ensure that you could find the space of the Bristleback. The second the Secret tried to buy space for their Visage, for Kuro, to get a very quick level 6. He's level 10 now and very, very happy with life. But when they did that, it meant Bristleback could move forward. Puck made sure they were able to be part of multiple kills. And then you're rotating around with the rest of your team, finding even more kills, and then that's more space for Ohio. You don't have to bring him in until the fight really starts. But they're already going to do it. He's actually at the right place at the right time. It's where the farm is. But Puppy's right behind him. Starts the Mana Leak, and Ohio should just sit exactly where he is. Then again, Mushy probably shouldn't. He's right on top of a Radiant Observer Ward, and they're converging on his position. And that's with an Orchid from S4, that then Yule Scepter up. He can phase shift and wait for the Blink Dagger, or in fact just blink himself down. And the hook shot, he bumped into the back of S4. So Zion able to connect on the retreating Puck. Now that means KYXY has got a ticket to basically push. This bottom tower's down to half of his life with conversions and catapults, and forces mass amounts of TPs down the bottom lane to defend it.
And Mushi immediately putting the Yules to use against the Orchid of S4. Of course, they were really, really important to avoid kills like this, where Secret are actually, it's not just that they don't kill the Puck, it's how much information Mushi is able to gather from that gank failing. It opens up the map. Ohio feels confident farming up top. They have really good vision right now inside the Radiant jungle as well. So I'm looking for Fnatic to make the next play. Now with hookshot on cooldown as well, they might actually just be able to if they can perhaps smoke into the Radiant jungle or something like that.
Well, do they actually have to? Like right now, you're looking at more ancient stacks coming up. Johnny's going back to his farm to try and get towards, I'm assuming, a Blink Dagger. And you got Leshrac finding more farm. Mushi's doing the same kind of thing. Is Fnatic even under pressure to come out and engage against Secret?
Well, Arteezy's getting big. That's a concern. As you talked about, it scales the entire team up. He's now got a BKB. He will definitely be looking for another agility item now, either completing his Manta or maybe looking at either a Scotty. He could look at a Butterfly, which would be not that great this game, but still, just for the agility, obviously really nice for his team. So I think they should be looking for fights. If they're confident that they can keep controlling the Drow afterwards, I did say, like, come minute 25, I'm not sure they have the damage. That is given that they get in on Arteezy. So they have to itemize and they have to play the team fights around catching him out. Else I don't think they can play the game this way.
Well, they're going to have a little bit more maneuverability with KYXY's next item not actually being any of the big ones, actually going for more of a utility 4-staff build.
It's good against Clock, obviously.
And Ohio, we actually have a new plate mail being on him. Puppey, dead. Mushi right in behind him. You got silences, you got dream calls, you got lightnings, and you got split earth to find the kill. It's commitment to ensure death. But at the same time, Secret, now knowing the dream call is on cooldown, and they are looking towards that mid tower. How far they get though? Not that far. They actually blink back out. Ohio's on the run out here, so S4 will find him. And does he even want to have a crack at this? Arteezy's going to gust him back. At the same time, Zai, a defensive cogs, but they get him out for stun off. Zai wants to hookshot himself away, but keeps getting stunned. The Yule set up at the wrong time for Mushi, but they have the silence, and they will get the kill.
Zai with a little bit of a martyr play there. I don't even know if he needed to do that, to be honest. I think his teammates might have got away. Perhaps Arteezy... Oh, wait, actually Arteezy had cooldown on TP, so I guess he couldn't BKB TP. So that in mind, that might have been worth it, but of course, the ultimate prize here, Fnatic, they will be getting Roshan. There is no way Secret are able to contest this right now.
Not at all.
And I want to say, in this game, they've been focusing a lot on farming Kuroki, which I think is a great way of playing Visage in general. It's just, I'm so used to seeing Kuroki being involved more in kills that it's a different kind of style that might completely catch Fnatic off guard how fast he's actually getting this Ags. But yeah, until now, he's only been in 1 kill on Visage minute 24. That is very unusual.
This is the item we're talking about. Close the distance on Arteezy. Johnny's now got his Blink Dagger up and running. So we have Blink Black Holes, we have Blink Dream Calls. So much control, and Mushi, speaking of that, you'll set her up. S4's right on top of him. Where's his Blink Dagger? Can't get it off, phase shift. Mushi doesn't have time. The cog position from Zai was perfect. It pushed him back, and now it's S4 that gets a large amount of money for that. Overall, it was 478 for that kill.
Yeah, that was perfectly executed. It's the only way they force him to Yule in the first place is that Orchid, and then he thinks he can phase Blink, but he was stun locked from full to 0. KYXY is pushing out top, and let's keep in mind that every time Fnatic take a good fight, KYXY is getting these Bloodstone charges. He's up to 10 right now. He's found 2 assists, I believe, with it. Maybe one of them was actually a kill. Yeah, he got the Clockwork kill. So he is starting to get items. Or charges rather. Ohio is also making some serious progress on his Bristle. I'm curious to see if he goes for the Shivas or for the Cuirass in this game. I think it might be a Shivas game just because they really don't have that much physical damage that his teammates benefit from, whereas when it comes to team fighting, he just needs that slow aura against all the physical damage of Secret and as another way of catching up to Drow.
Yeah. Because once that Shiva's guard's hit, then Drow Ranger just slows down so much, and you're right, it's movement speed versus non-movement speed, if we want to be really that raw.
Oh, geez, he got an SNY though. He's pretty fast too, 406. But Bristle is going to be way faster with a couple of Warpath stacks and just popping the Shivas.
And then he's also got the help from Lightning from KYXY, and that's going to bounce through him, so getting close on the Drow Ranger and staying there is pretty easy. And now S4, Mushi, well, they actually take the stun straight away. Can Mushi reach him in time to actually Yule Scepter him up? This might allow him to actually recall back out by Puppey.
That
able
was
to save S4.
So close. The moment he lands, he will take 50 damage and that recall will be cancelled. But mid-air, you can recall him to the location of Puppey there. That was really clutch. And the question is if Mushi made a mistake there, going for the Yules. Could he have reached any spell? I actually don't think so.
KYXY, big play, just 4-stuffed in. and able to get the perfect stun onto S4, so he dies anyway. And then Mushi wants to go for more. He's found Kuro in the mid with the poison, but decides not to stick around.
There's no coil available. They're not interested in taking this fight right now. Rather, playing a bit of map control. Dire are farming the Radiant jungle. KYXY with the solo kill top gets a lot of space as well. That kind of kills really define or make a huge difference in the game. Even though it's just one kill on S4, they get pushed on the top lane. It's a really big surprise kill. KYXY gets Bloodstone charge, and it also results in this bottom tier 2 because S4 doesn't have buyback. He will not be available for this fight.
Yep.
Very, very big heads up play from KY.
At the same time, we did actually get the item out from Ohio. It wasn't the Shiva's guard like we thought. It's a full assault Cuirass, and has completed a 27 minutes in for Ohio.
So he did, yep. He did go for the Cuirass.
Yep. So negative armor plus armor. Not that bad when you're trying to beat through the buildings, especially if you're just by yourself or only got one person.
There were two ways to look at this, right? One of them is we do not have enough physical damage to benefit from the Cuirass. The other one is we really need physical damage because we can't rely on magical damage only, right? So it's one of those situations where you're like, you weigh the pros and cons and you think, okay, KYXY actually just got a lot of gold. He can get a Shivas fast. Then it's probably a no-brainer because he wants that as part of his build. And I would say it's definitely better for them to get one of each rather than the two Shivas. So this top rune's gonna go to Mushi, gets a bounty.
He's gonna be okay.
The bot rune sucks, so nobody wants that one.
It's the best rune of the game, Send.
Yeah, 1 out of 100 times. But that is great.
That is fantastic, and it makes for the wonderful jukes. But Mushi will pick up both, so hey, why not? It looks like Fnatic is a big group up on top. They do still have KYXY forcing in the mid with Mushi, just orb and lightning damage doing the work. And there's a bunch of conversions on bottom lane that's going to be slowing down this push, at least from him. And that'll allow time for Fnatic to hit the tier 2 tower before the creep wave of Secret will hit the tier 1. Kuro should also be really careful where he is. That's a dire observer ward on top of the hill. He doesn't see this, but of course Fnatic see him. TPing out, they jump in, look for the stun. Mistiming, the disruption will still, however, cancel the TP out from Kuro, so they will find this kill, and maybe even a couple of his familiars. And in fact, they're actually splitting up the fight. KYXY TP's the bottom lane to go for the defense while Mushi wraps around the back of the tier 2 tower on top. Now Coddle, the recall's already starting in. Arteezy's come to the top lane. They're gusting onto illusions of the pucks. The illusion rune is useful. And tier 2 tower will remain alive for now.
Well, so Fnatic actually make a really good play pulling just getting away from this tower right away. They realize, okay, they've poured their Leshrac bottom. Secret might have the buyback here. They're aiming to defend the tower. They force out the glyph. They're like, okay, Secret want to actually fight for this. We're not even going to give them the chance to get a comeback in this game. We're just going to keep finding our pickoffs and playing our game.
They're coming top. They're looking for Arteezy or S4. And Johnny has his Blink Dagger. In fact, S4 jumps into him, goes for the Orchid. Can actually give Johnny some time. The disruption! Evades the Sonic Wave. S4 will blink down into the river. Johnny will follow him down here with Mushi. Commits the black hole. S4's control time is BKB. He'll drop. And there is no help to come in from the rest of Secret. Zio was considering a hook shot in, but wisely decided against him. That was the 10-second BKB kill.
Kitchik's timing in this game is just so good. That disruption, beautiful timing from him once again. Fnatic are really bringing their A game for this game 1.
Yeah, and they hold the control. They have gold as well as experience advantage now, roughly 1,500 for both. And they're getting themselves further and further ahead.
Arteezy, he is not winning this fight. All right.
He is when KYXY leaves.
What? I guess he was afraid of the backup coming in, but that just looks really funny in that situation. He's totally got him. He could just run him down, force out the BKB, and then go
Safety first, Sidran, safety first.
That's funny.
But yes, it was a pure one-on-one. But no team's got any kind of vision inside the Radiant jungle. It's only where the creep waves and the heroes are moving. The closest ward you have to the Radiant jungle is the Radiant one, which is sitting halfway up mid lane. Even the Dire Vision, they have... Is that only one Dire Observer ward in the map, which is watching the top rune? I can see sentries on the top, but that's it. This map is really dark for both sides. But at the same time, like, Fnatic don't really need to see where they're going in the dark. They just walk up. The second they appear, they go for them. Especially now that Mushi has an Aghanim Scepter Dream Coil on this puck.
That is a very big deal. Now they have another way of playing around Arteezy. They can just coil him in the back. And I actually think it's possible that the best play from Mushi, even if there's a team fight breaking out, is just blinking to the back, coiling Arteezy so in such a way so that if he wants to move into the fight, he has to break it. That's a 4.5 second stun that they have to single out other heroes. It's of course great against S4's Quap as well, so when he blinks, he will also get stunned, but it is definitely targeted at Arteezy's Drow in this game.
Oh, Arteezy's looking to try and target, well, Fnatic, but Fnatic moved back. They will also smoke up, the same as Secret have, and try and find one opening. They'll take from that top rune. Now, there's no Radiant Vision there, so they won't have seen that happen. And in fact, they move up. There goes your smoke break. Over on Zai, Dream Call. Over on him, Silence. The Blade Mail will protect him for the moment. And in comes S4, right from behind. Silence galore as well as BKBs, but still no kills. Mushi's the one who's isolated on the side. The Sonic Wave. It's all of Fnatic, but where is your puck? He still phase shifts up, blinks in the tree line. Mushi, TP's on cooldown, so he has to all further down. The rest of the squad's coming. Another phase shift. Delay more time. Now in comes Ohio. The Gus back silencing up. They have lost Mushi. Where's your hook shot out? Kuro stun, KOXY battling up against S4. They're underneath the tower. KOXY is going to go down, and Ohio is isolated. The call to split up Fnatic. Ohio is dead on the top lane. 3 heroes gone, and Secret trade nothing of value for it. They may even get more. The rocket will give vision for S4 so we can get the Shadow Strike. This will slow down Shadow Demon. The TP is there. The Scream damage isn't enough to actually pop him with the Orchid. The answer is no. He'll survive on 80 life points back in the base.
Very nice analysis of the fight there from Secret, just to see that they're ahead when they get this kind of jump. It's one of those really awkward situations where you run into each other with smoke and you need to make the immediate reaction play. I think Mushi coiling.
They're chasing Johnny.
Oh yeah, Johnny is.
He came down and picked up an Invis rune, but the Puppey has a gem, so easily saw the Enigma. I think he was coming in to try and deter them from going in for Roshan, steal the rune, and make him worry about it. But now Puppey, all he's got to do is just recall in all of his friends, Zai being the last friend, and they will take out Roshan.
Dryland is just so disgusting when it comes to killing Rosh. That's ridiculous. So yeah, what I was getting at in that top fight, I think Mushi solo dream calling Zai lost the fight. Like, he cannot commit such an important ability just on the clockwork, especially when they can't even bring him down. Like, maybe if they get that kill off the bat and they play off that, perhaps. But Mushi was far ahead of his team and they didn't really have the combination play.
Up top bottom lane, they're going to go into S4. Ohio almost looks like he was baiting it out in S4. BKB will trigger. He's going to die here. Good pick off. Mushi stayed in the trees and they aggressively TP'd Ohio into the lane, baiting S4 to try and have a crack at him. The Dream Call was the only thing that was going to stop S4 then. I think that's what he was searching for previously. The quick pick-off, move to the next target. That was it. Same with the Black Hole in the mid lane. It's just the mindset of Fnatic in this game up against Secret. Take one kill, move it along. Nothing to see here.
It's a little bit easier when you get a 2-on-1 instead of a 5-on-5.
Yes.
That's one of those kills that Fnatic, the moment he coils as forward, they know they've got him.
Yeah. That's what we call the backfire effect.
Now, how close is Johnny to his BKB? He only has the Ogre Club, right? So, no, this is one of the changes that Enigma has been pretty hit. Let me try that again. Enigma has been hit pretty hard by the changes to the jungle. When you look over the numbers, it doesn't look that significant, but you need to consider that it all adds up, right? You get less golden experience in the first camps, and because of that, you get the next camp slower as well. So his jungling impact is just not as high as it used to be, and you know, in a previous version, Johnny would have had his BKB by now, but he's actually 3K short almost, so it's a pretty big deal. It was bigger than I thought it was, but when you see it play out, there's just so much evidence that really shows that the jungle has been sacked hard.
Secret's really forcing in this top lane, and they're doing it so well by just TPing Arteezy down to bottom lane. He pushes out the creep wave, and then you've still got the Aghanim Scepter on Keeper of the Light, and he's a level 16 Keeper of the Light too, who, correct me if I'm wrong, actually hasn't leveled up his ulti to level 3 yet. I don't think it's a misclick. I just think he's gotten around. Yeah, there we go. Now he's gotten around to it. But this means you basically got recall all the time for Secret, bringing everybody back. Your split pushes, pretty much insane, because you never have to have a TP scroll. You can keep the two cores, like Queen of Pain as well as Drow Ranger, forcing in the other two lanes, and keep the Clockwork, the Visage, as well as Keeper of the Light all together.
You need to be really careful, though. If they take damage during the recall, they're just stuck on the other side of the map. So if you have the information, you could definitely play that way, but it's a very risky way to play with a Drow, where if Arteezy gets caught out, that can, it can end up costing them the game, trying to play a little bit too greedy with the split push. Now, he's going to get the tier 1 for free. The tier 2, it looks like Fnatic will fight for, and of course, worth to keep in mind that we just hit nighttime, so Puppy does not have the 1800 unobstructed vision. I think Secret just wants to wait until day. Like, it's just a safer and smarter play where they don't really lose any potential in the next 3 minutes, I think, unless how long's left on that Aegis. All right, they actually lose the Aegis. That's a hard call.
It kind of feels like it feels like it's still worth it to go.
It could backfire so hard though if you go in without vision on this tower. Like,
it could. And really they're not going to get out far enough to actually see either. But you've got Familiar Burst to scout out. They can move up through the tree line, be it on the east flank or the west flank. They can go from either side. And with a continuous Illumina spam, you're going to push into the tower. The Aegis on Arteezy, leave them on the front lines. If they initiate in, you just blinding light. S4 BKBs jumps in. Zai's got a hook shot as well. You can bring support to the front lines very, very quickly. But why take the risk? The TP will come back from Arteezy. He'll defend the top tower. In fact, he'll probably even deny the top tower and then just get recalled.
Radiant's top tower has been
yeah, Mushi making the right play here, just putting pressure elsewhere on the map. He knows he has a tier 2 tower to put in on, and since he will be the only TP, he will be there in time. So even though that tower gets denied, it's still worth it because it stops Secret's push. It probably makes them not able to use their Aegis, which I think is the biggest deal. And all in all, Fnatic, they're buying time again. Did Johnny really not? He is still really not progressing toward his BKB. You think back just one version of Dota. You would never see Enigma second to last. Absolutely never. But now he's overtaken by both of Secret's supports, and it's just
It feels like he's sacrificing himself, though. It's not just the fact that he's not farming. It's the fact that he's having to sit behind the rest of his Fnatic heroes each time, thinking maybe there's a team fight coming, because you've got 4 players from Secret in one lane, and they're fairly certain of the same thing. So, like, okay, let's have the Enigma there in case they get initiated on. Then we can counter-initiate with the Black Hole, and we can do some work.
He's still got 160 CS though. Like, it's not like he's completely starved for farm on the Enigma. It's not high up the list though.
It's actually the third on the list as
last, which is pretty impressive. But
that Drow Ranger is number 1. Leshrac right behind him.
And what does KYXY go for? Is this he's getting an axe, or is that an Octarine? It's got to be Octarine.
It should be Octarine.
I'm not sure if that's the best choice actually here. In some ways, you really need BKB. Against Mono League, even. That's like the biggest reason to get it. There's triple bird stuns, there's multiple silences, like the Orchid, the Gust, and just, I think that Mono League's actually going to be his biggest problem in this game. He will have to find a way to play around that. Leshrac, who's not mobile, really loses a lot of potential.
It might also just be a casual point booster for now, because he's still walking around with 2,000 gold.
That's just a weird build-up.
I don't know if he's going to go for like BTs as his next item. Maybe that's one way where they can try and counter the split push, which is coming out from Secret. Wow, Koro. Right. He actually bought a full Desolator.
He's pretty rich.
Yep. This Visage has some good cash.
And the gold graph keeps going up for Secret. They're not really that far ahead. Like, it's really close. I've just got this feeling that when you look at how the gold is distributed, it does favor Secret in the long run. They have the farm supports. The cores will still be able to match the farm of Fnatic down the line, but it's going to be very difficult for the Shadow Fiend to catch up to the 6,000 he's behind the Keeper of the Light right now. Now daytime will kick in. I think Secret's plan now is, if possible, get Roshan during daytime with Coddle's 1800 vision from the Axe, and if they're unlucky with the spawn, they at least want to try to control the area. Or maybe not. They might have another plan as it looks.
They're bringing in a break effect. Yeah, they're just going to go right now. Like, why wait? They have a Shadow Blade on the Drow Ranger, which is actually back in the stash, and not on him right now. The hookshot misses. The silence will be on SD, but if they only lose the SD here, Fnatic will be very happy with this. That's a 5-man smoke. They'll end up killing off the Shadow Demon. But the creep wave is kind of cut halfway through, so they're not ready to attack into the tier 2 tower just yet. So if Fnatic want to buy back, they can't. The SD doesn't have buyback money.
This is not just a Shadow Blade, by the way, for Arteezy.
It's the Silver Edge up against the Bristle.
Yeah, so he's going to disassemble his Sanjin Yasha and make a Silver Edge and a Yasha. This very, very powerful build-up for Drow nowadays. This kind of game, yeah, they're going to concede this tower. Just look at that.
Yep.
There is no way they hold that.
If they try, they die. But Ohio is still looking very, very good with his BKB. Like, you're going to focus in with the break, but you got the BKB, the Crimson Guard, the Assault Cuirass, and I'm not going to say soon the Abyssal because he did delay the Abyssal Blade to pick up that BKB. But the survivability on the Bristle is good.
If he gets broken, you won't even think it's that hero he's playing. Like, the physical damage on the Radiant is so disgusting that even though he has 29 armor, when the break kicks in, you might get a chance to see it here.
Here they go. Where's that break? There's the break. BKB will trigger, tries to TP out. The damage, it is not enough.
That was without... Was that with or without the Silver Edge on? Because I can't remember the interaction. I think when you pop BKB after you get broken, it removes it, right? It's the same interaction as Overgrowth. So it's like, who casts it first? I do think
I'm not answering mechanical questions.
It's a little confusing with Silver Edge because it might be one of the parts goes through, maybe the damage reduction, or the break, or both. I can't remember. But that, to me, that looked like he wasn't broken when he BKB'd.
His back was turned, he looked fine.
Regardless, Secret made a point there. They dealt 2,000 damage to a 29 armor Bristleback within 3 seconds.
Yep. But they did commit pretty heavily. Like, that was a lot of heroes coming in. And they're all working around with this bonus 79 damage from the Drow Ranger on every hero apart from the Clockwork. So you start adding all of this up against his life. 2,400 doesn't really look like that great a number. But when you can focus one-on-one, that's fine. When you start adding in the control factors, maybe that really is, again, like you said it probably 20 minutes ago, what do you do in this game? If you are Secret, you got to play around the control factors of Fnatic. Which means you've got to be careful of these Eul Scepters. You've got to be careful of these BKB Magic Immune penetrating disables like, well, Puck's Dream Coil, as well as Black Hole. And now you actually get a Blink Dagger on the... He actually... Okay, cool. He buys a Blink Dagger on the Bristleback.
I think it's good.
What's the purpose of it then?
Go on Drow.
That's a good purpose.
That is... The mission is very clear here for Ohio. He just saw how much damage Secret dealt to him when Drow's marksmanship was on. He's not going to let it happen again. He has to jump the Drow to remove all of that agility. And of course, if he can actually shut her down, like I'm wondering if he even wins a one-on-one with Arteezy in melee range. I'm not sure because of the evasion on the Drow right now. With Butterfly, he probably won't reliably be able to get the bashes he needs. So it's probably pretty close, but that's still really good because it allows KYXY to do way more. There's a BKB. Good. That's a good choice. That's what I was hoping for from him. I think it's necessary. Absolutely.
So it was the casual point booster.
I think it just changed his mind. I don't think he got it as a casual point booster. I think he was going for an Octarine and he was like, all right, this is not good. Yeah. But he obviously doesn't want to sell it since he can use it later.
Well, Fnatic with their newly found items, they're going to move out, see if they can find an engagement. As they do have that BKB we're talking about. Roshan, the big man, is up and running, but Puppey actually breaks the smoke over on the SD, and Ohio instantly blinks to the high ground. Doesn't find anybody here. It also doesn't reveal the fact that he has this Blink Dagger. Because Secret do have vision with the Radiant Warp, but they don't see where Fnatic is moving. KOXY is still under the cover of smoke. And they're drawing the line to go back down through the bot lane. They can see Roshan. The Dire Courier is watching it very closely. But they're going to find S4 in a moment if they keep moving into the trees. And they'll see the Illuminate also come out from the Dire jungle. So they're really guessing Fnatic which way they're meant to attack. But they're trying to wait for the creep wave to pass, so the Fog of War is still restricting vision on them. But they're walking past the Observer Ward. They're perfectly visible. The 3 familiars just sitting there waiting. As KOXY, well, he actually lost the vision, so we can't attack up the hill for him. They'll run away, can't even bring down one of them. But on bottom lane, S4's attacking into the tier 3 tower. They're forced to TP back one, and it's Mushy, orking it up. He still wants to have a crack, actually. Yulset bring over on the Queen of Pain, and then will move himself away. But Fnatic are basically in recovery mode.
Secret are outplaying them right now on their map movements. They're taking a lot of advantage of the Keeper of the Light. They feel confident going for these split push plays with S4. And
here's the
ultimately, they take the tier 2 top, they force TP's bottom, they lose nothing, and they are now in position for their next objective.
Can they take it though? Fnatic are moving out. KOXY as well as Kerchik, they're going to try and get rid of it. There's your Orchid down, and okay. Well, that Roshan was alive at one point of his life.
Solar Crest, Desolator, Drow, and Birds.
You do get your item you're searching for. The BKB is over on the Enigma now.
Yeah,
so they have only the hook shot that will actually cancel his Black Hole. That's the only thing that Secret has.
And the biggest play here is the surprise play. Where
they down one. They found Puppey with the silence. 4-star down. S4's coming in. Orchid's over on Mushy. He doesn't want to use the Usurper just yet, but Ohio turns on the BKB. Physical damage on the first hit bash. Puppey's down for the count. He'll move over to RTZ, and there's your black hole. But the whole shot. Perfect from Zai. The Dream Caller causing serious problems for him. KOH can't do enough damage. Mushy trying to kill off Koro. Finally, there is over the buyback. RTZ in the trees. Trying to get out of here, but he can't do it. The Aegis will trigger. But Zai, maybe he can make some space. Hook shots after Mushy. S4's going to go with him. They have the phase shift. Can Mushy get himself out of this one? There's your silence. Mushy, he's down for the count. It's a double kill for RTZ. Coming back to life again. And maybe with these two heroes down, there is buyback for the puck, but they can do some damage to the base.
That instant hook shot from Zai really saved that fight. If he is not on point with that, they get run over, but immediately counterplaying the Enigma. I was about to say the big play here is to get the hook shot onto someone else, and then you can find the black hole. But Johnny, I don't blame him for going for that. That looked like a really good opening, but Zai was just ready for him instantly.
At Ohio, copping Illuminus, Mana Leaks, the Dro Aura was turned on, the Range Rax is toast, and the Melee Rax is toast as well. Johnny blinks forward, but the damage is done. Maybe they can catch up to him. Arteezy running out here. Ohio has no true vision, so he didn't see the movement away. In fact, he won't really see anything. Even the recall from Coddle is pulling everyone back. Arteezy up to safety. They just took a Rax for, what, 2 kills?
Yeah, they lost their Aegis, though. Oh, BKB.
Yeah, it's S4. He's going to go down to Ohio. Good damage from him, and a really good kill. That's a lot of money. That's actually a crap ton of money.
This Blink Dagger has been really good for Ohio, and the best thing for him is it's going to set up Blink Abyssal. It's going to be very powerful as they do catch Johnny, though, on the bottom lane.
But Arteezy's in a little bit of trouble, too. He walks into the tree line, again going to get recalled, but Zai, well, pulled back out again. They couldn't get the damage onto Arteezy to stop the recall.
This is a very close game. Even though it's Secret are 10k ahead, it still doesn't feel like they're in the clear just yet, but they took a really big fight there. Now, they won't have Aegis for the next at least 5 minutes until Roshan respawns, and I think that's where Fnatic, if they find a fight like the one they just did, they would win that. They only lost that fight because of the Aegis. Even with a perfect hookshot from Zai, they would have still lost that.
See, I'm wondering if they can once Arteezy finishes his full Satanic, which he's only, what, 1,400 gold away from completing?
I still think Bristle beats him in a fist fight. I was surprised with how hard Ohio destroyed him in that fight. Even with Arteezy's evasion, he still got shut down pretty heavily. So I'm going to say when there's an Abyssal out on Ohio, even if, let's say Arteezy fights back, he's not going to win in the long run, so he's going to need help. And that means Ohio will not only shut out Arteezy, he will force the fight in a direction that's going to give a lot more time and space for the Leshrac. So I really think Ohio's best decision in this game so far was to buy that Blink, and I think the second best one he's going to make is to buy the Abyssal over having buyback. I think he has to make that play.
Well, in 300 gold, you'll get your answer, because that's how far away he is from it. And Mushy, he's actually going to go for the disable, so the Scythe of Vice will belong to him. So not looking too shabby for his items. Arteezy, I still want to see when he spends his money. 4,000 gold now on the Drove Ranger. Could buy the full Satanic if he wishes to, but that's only if he wishes to. That will actually sacrifice his buyback. And Courier's already making the trek for it.
The really powerful thing about having buyback on Drow this game is that you can die and get recalled after buyback. So you don't even need the Boots of Travel as long as Puppey is safe. But he might still go for the buy. As you said, the Courier is moving, but he didn't buy the recipe. This makes me think...
It's the Reaver.
Oh, okay.
He bought the Reaver.
Just didn't buy the recipe.
He actually only needs 280 gold to have buyback.
It's possible.
So technically he just farms up the Ancients and he's got buyback available too. So he doesn't have to...
Satanic.
Okay, well... Caution to the win, Arteezy is Arteezy.
It seemed a little weird to buy the Reaver, if you wanted to say, because he doesn't replace it with any item anyway in his inventory.
There's your wish for Ohio. The full Abyssal Blade has been purchased.
He is really strong right now. That is the single hero and player I've been most impressed with in this game because of how destroyed he got in lane and how many cases I've seen on this off-lane Bristle just not working. Ohio has proven this game that you can definitely still pull it off. I am very, very impressed.
Arteezy about to try and pull something off on KOSY. Doesn't break anything, but just still attacks him. Mushy blinks forward, starts off with a Hex on Arteezy. No follow-up, and in fact, all of Fnatic have left their base. Hook shot up, they caught out Mushy. With the cogs pushing him back, he's got face shift to Babel, getting Yule Scepter first, allowing for the Blink Dagger timing. Up he comes to the high ground, while on bottom lane, the Force is still coming in with a creep wave. pushing it in. Ohio's BKB's protecting him, but he's out of mana. KOXY being mana leak, not also helping him out. No one's dead from Fnatic, but then again, maybe they don't need to be. The Rax is getting whittled away by the rest of Secret. They just took bottom Rax without killing a single Fnatic player. They could just rotate towards the top lane as well because the creep wave's already in, and that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, that split push play once again from S4. He's doing so much damage because of the Drower and his
Jump in, triple jump, the Abyssal Blade. It hits on S4, and then your Black Hole. Catching it on easy, the hook shot in. It doesn't stop Johnny, however, but the Corpse pushing all of Fnatic back. Is there time? Is there a kill? The Corpse went back into the game, but Arteezy. Sands is going up against Ohio. They've managed to reach up to him, so the damage is gone. Double silence. They're staying on top of the terrain, but Mushy still taking so much now with the Sun. Ohio needs more with the hook shot. Slides back in again, pushing him out. KOXY dying the Familiars. Is this it? Johnny's in trouble. Soul Sucker will kill him. That's it. Triple kill for Koro. Puck, the only one alive, and he is on the wrong side of the world. He has gone west where the skies are blue, and it is cloudy and GG, in fact, in the Fnatic base. Secret take game number 1 up against Fnatic. One step closer to the semi-finals. But what a game from Fnatic as well. And I know you want to say it, man, the Bristleback, great play by Ohio.
That was such a good strategic win for Secret. I think the way they outplayed Fnatic in this game was simply just map movements and split pushing, taking advantage of Keeper of the Light, taking advantage of S4 with the Drow Aura, being able to do so much damage with his Curious there. They get the bottom Rex pretty much for free. And I gotta say, the fight that breaks out outside the base, Mushi's getting desperate. He blink hexes the Drow really far out. There's no follow-up available. He just gets force-staffed, I think, and stays alive. Ohio lost all his mana to a mana leak, and he BKBs and actually can't do anything after that. He doesn't have anything left in the tank, and that's the bottom Rex. They rotate top quickly while Fnatic are in the fountain, and they actually just do 2 Rex in 30 seconds.
It was quality play, and as you said, Secret outplaying him. Fnatic have to be really worried about this. It's not as though they're going to be saying our draft was bad. Like, they got probably what they were searching for. Like, you got Yellow Shrek. You're never going to be sad about that. The Bristleback still pulled back in, and he played as a solid core. The Puck, Mushy gave every bit of control he was capable of doing, and even Kerchik, like, he was in position as that SD, working all the time, and yet you still cannot topple Secret. Is that where your major problem comes in? That you still couldn't beat Secret after playing what you probably feel was really, really high-quality Dota.
Yeah, I don't know if Fnatic had a really good opportunity that they missed in this game. It didn't feel like it. I think they, like you said, they just played solidly. It was a strategic loss. Maybe the last fight where Mushy goes in is not that good, but apart from that, their fights were actually pretty damn good in this game.
Well, let's go to a break, guys. So stay tuned. We'll be back after this short break.